Have you heard about Sergeant First Class Charles Martland, who was relieved of his duties for body slamming an allied Afghan police commander who'd been engaging in a practice called boy play, which is basically using teenage boys as sex slaves? The Green Beret said this: "Kicking me out of the Army is morally wrong, and the entire country knows it." Well, not really. The entire country doesn't know it because the media's been obsessed with a kid who built a clock that looked like a bomb. But in this day and age, how can we let this soldier judge what is wrong? Don't we know how important multiculturalism is? That we must respect all foreign practices because it's arrogant to assume that we are better. I mean, to them, women driving a car is evil, so who's to say what's wrong? See, Sergeant Martland made a value judgment. A crime in a time where all cultures are now relative. Forget progress, equality, basic human decency. We just aren't any better. That's the sick joke behind cultural diversity. It enables the very worst behavior: a bucket for honor killers, child rape, stoning of women, perversions of religion and power, protected under a ghoulish doom of intolerance, or tolerance rather. It is under this dome that doing the right thing becomes the wrong thing. The hero becomes villain, and the victim is just another casualty of our abdication of accountability. This happened in Afghanistan, but don't worry, it's not like it's spreading. Kimberly?
Yeah, I know.
Amazing. These soldiers are supposed to stop this stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's their role.
He should be a hero.
Yeah.
Should be given an award.
Yeah.
Why isn't he invited to the White House and to the Rose Garden and hailed a hero?
That is a great
Who's
point.
Obama's choice?
Yes.
Bird doll?
Yeah.
Get my point?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so this is outrageous to me. This is, again, speaking to the character of this country, like Carly had talked about with Planned Parenthood. Do you just sit by and allow this to happen? Is that who we are, who we've become? Like, when is it okay to allow children to be casualties of war, of political conflict, of political expediency?
It's a good point, Kirsten. She brings up the political part. We didn't want to upset the fragile relationship we had with these miscreants, these allied commanders. So that's what, I guess, paved this over.
Yeah, there are some things, some lines that should never be crossed, and this is obviously one of them. And so I think that when you are faced with that, look, I get it. You want to have a good relationship with them, but there are just some things that they do. You cannot sit by and expect. In the New York Times article about this, they talk about the soldiers having to listen to these boys being raped, and they can't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, this is inhumane.
They got to go do some public executions of anybody that does this, and that'll curtail it a bit.
Well, you know, Eric, if you had done something, if you were over there, they would probably some bureaucracy would accuse you of anger issues if you actually punched them.
And can I defend the Green Berets to a little bit right here? What they're saying is vigilantism is unacceptable. So taking the law and providing justice on the spot is against their rules, and I understand that. However, these people are animals. Do you realize that this was going on regularly, that these Afghan soldiers or whatever they are, officials, were raping children tied to beds, and it was going on, and they could hear in the barracks for nights and nights on end. And so, yes, is it understandable what Martland did? Absolutely. Should he be thrown out of the Army? I'm not sure if he should be thrown out or given a medal and replaced somewhere else in another branch of government, another branch of armed services. But I do understand that they have to at least keep the order as far as vigilantism.
This show was a lot lighter the last time I was on.
Yeah.
I tell you, there's a lot of tough topics today. I mean, this is really tough stuff to listen to. But
should we do something else?
Not. You know what? I think we'll get to that in a little bit. For now. This goes back to, when you just decide that you're going to stand up for certain things in life, whatever the consequences are. And it's kind of goes back to what you've been taught or what you teach your kids, that you're just going to stand up in the face of what's wrong and let the chips fall where they may. And maybe, like you said, maybe he did. You can't have a command where you're taking things into your own hands, even when you feel like your commander is not giving you a good command. So he made the decision, and then maybe he bears the consequences of that decision proudly and comes back and talks about it.
One source of mine who's a Green Beret said that he believes it's officers who are scared of the accountability question, so they don't want to get involved because they're afraid of the politics. So they just say, look the other way.
Then why are you putting on a uniform?
Yeah. Well, these
You know, why
soldiers
you better
are
stand,
the guys.
You got to stand for something.
They have a Latin saying. I think it says to free the oppressed. That's on the beret. That's what they're supposed to do.
I know,
is free
but
the
how do you
oppressed.
stand
I
by
also
and
don't think
sleep at
it's-
night when you
yeah.
know that you're allowing children to be brutalized and raped? How about stopping a crime in progress?
Yeah, and I also think that the
ridiculous.
people who are telling them that they can't intervene are the people who are accountable for him finally flipping out and hitting somebody. I mean, if you're going to ask somebody
Yeah.
to day in, day out, listen to this, eventually someone's going to snap and say, I can't listen to this anymore.
And we talked about this about a month ago. Major Jason Bresler sent an email warning about this pervert and his teenage boys, and that there might be a violent attack, and there was, and three soldiers were murdered by one of the teenagers that was part of this weird group of things. And so this guy got busted, got relieved, Jason Bresler, for sending an email warning.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, I hope somebody gives these guys
Whistleblowers
great
used to be.
jobs.
I guess you're only a whistleblower if it's on the left, right?
Well, I don't know that this is a left or right thing, right?
No, I know that's true. I was just cheap shot at you,
It
Kirsten.
was.
All right. I admit when I do cheap shots.